Okay, everyone, it is Wednesday. It's always Wednesday. This is Boss Talks. It's always on a Wednesday, except when it's not because we have technical difficulties. But that's another topic for another day. Today, it is Wednesday, but it's a special Wednesday because it's my birthday. So happy birthday to me. The big 3-9. I'm not ashamed to talk about my age because with age comes wisdom. And the more people I talk to, like my guest today, the wiser I get as well. So I'm excited to have Carroll VanHook and Weaver. I almost forgot her hyphenation. She is a great guest. We're going to learn a lot from her today. She's with a group called Akara Partners. They have multiple solutions within their portfolio, but when it comes to the one that I'm super excited about, because I love co-working and learning about that space, they've got a great solution called Kenect. Got a few properties around the country, one in Scottsdale, Arizona, and another in Nashville. And that's actually where she is today. So that's pretty fun. If we have a mobile camera, maybe we can get a little glimpse of their property as well, because it's pretty cool. But nonetheless, co-working space in apartments, but open to the public. So pretty cool concept. There's not a lot of that out there. There's a lot of fake co-working space. So I'm excited to learn from her when it comes to that. But before we get there, again, I'm Evan Happel. I'm your host with Community Boss. We have some great solutions for managing your physical spaces, whether that's parking, amenities, or mapping. We got you covered. We can even generate some revenue and add value to your property. So if you have any questions, obviously reach out to me. But without further ado, on this special birthday episode number 34, Carol's coming to the show. Carroll, thank you for being here.
Hello. Hi, Evan. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. And
thank you.
I do feel much wiser than you being 1 year older. So you're going to have a lot to learn from me.
There we go. Hey, and I'm happy that you are like, this is my age. There's nothing to be ashamed of here. There's
Not
so much I've gained.
The stigma with girls, and it's like, well, we don't want to celebrate birthdays or talk about it. And, I'm from the southern part of the United States, and so that's even more of a taboo topic. But, each decade is a lot of fun. And I've had people tell me their 40s are the best. So I'm really looking forward to it. And the 30s, I think we all just work our tails off in our 30s, right? We're just trying to learn from our mistakes and get there. But every decade's awesome. So happy birthday.
Yeah, that's true. 30s are kind of like 20s, like we don't have a clue what we're doing.
Nope.
30 is like, I think I'm starting to understand what I'm doing. And then 40 is like, all right, let's do this.
Right. And you're just like, okay, now you kind of get your work-life balance a little bit more in your 40s. For me, I'm a little bit of a workaholic anyway. So just my 30s, I feel like just flew by because you're just exploring. You have a little bit of more money than in your 20s, right? And you can plan bigger. Instead of doing house parties, you can actually go on trips with your friends, and kind of enjoy that. But I'm super excited to be here, and really, really humbled that you would, choose me to be on your show. And I hope I can get some takeaways to the viewers out there and answer some fun questions and get to know your audience.
Yeah, for sure. So I didn't tell you, but the way we kick this off is I ask some fun questions, just lighten the mood a little bit. Okay. And then we'll get into the, learn more about you and all that kind of stuff. But this is how we kick it off. So first question I ask is, when it comes to building community in your personal and or professional life, what is it that you do? Like, what's your way of building community?
Gosh, with falling into lease-ups and doing new construction for so long, it's hard to build that community when you're still under construction and you don't have the locations or the buildings, the people or the residents living there to make it a community. It's truly the residents make it the community, but it all starts with the people for me. It's all the talent and the people that we have on the teams that are truly driving the vibe, the customer service, the friendly attitudes. And that is the cornerstone of building any community for me. So when I'm starting with construction sites, it's the team. It's so crucial to have a really nimble and tight-knit lease-up team versus a really large team when you're under construction, because you want to be able to move fast. A lot of people are doing a lot of multiple jobs during lease-ups, but instead of managing a huge group, you really just want to manage the work and really do the work. So I think building community for me starts with the team on site, and then everything else falls into place. Also with operational properties, once the doors open and we have people moved in, building community starts with, I don't think it has to be super, like, of course you want to have it thought out and well planned, but sometimes things can happen organically and then you should just go with it. If you have here in Nashville, of course, we're right on Music Row. It's just organic that we have a lot of musicians that live here. And I have to give all the credit to our concierges. They put a guitar in the lobby and somebody just picked it up and started playing. And fast forward about 6-7 months, it's turned into a full concert every Thursday, and it's called Lobby Jam. We kind of coined the name after Whiskey Jam, which is a huge free concert that happens in the summertime here in Nashville. And this has turned into a free 100% resident ran weekly event, and it all goes back to the team. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So making community, it's just let things happen organically and be a passive listener around the property. Do people like drinking wine? Do you see a lot of beer bottles when you come to work on Monday mornings by the pool? Maybe have a local beer tasting come in, and you're going to have a lot of people come to that because that's what they like to do. Or, in your really busy professional markets, do people like doing DIY and de-stressing events? So building community based on, number one, your team pushing that, and number two, just passively listening to your residents is going to build your community.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love the idea of just like almost forming the community, throwing an object out there that like somebody just picks up. You're like, all right, let's jam. Let's just come together around music. And you didn't have to even plan it. You just put the object there, the guitar there, and it's like, all right, sweet. Let's go to town on this guitar, and people just gather around music and food and stuff.
Right. So. And I have to say, as a corporate leasing and marketing director, that thought never crossed my mind. So the fact that our team took that initiative, I would have planned something like, let's have a talent night, and rent a stage and people can sign up. And how consistent is that going to be? But the fact that it happened so organically, and week by week, different musicians started coming together and playing and collaborating. And then now people bring their own equipment. There's microphones, there's lighting. We've had some talent scouts now coming to the property. And so,
of course, you're in Nashville.
Exactly. It's like, well, let me go find some free talent, Going to the karaoke bars in Nashville is very intimidating if you come here, by the way, because everybody's trying to get discovered. So
that's hilarious.
But yeah, going back to that, it's just let it happen organically and see what happens. And if you fail, it doesn't work. But the fact is that you tried, and something may stick.
Yeah. No, that's fun. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the forming of community in an organic way.
Absolutely.
Because 100%, like I used to do events on site at communities, and to be honest, yes, it worked. People came and we formed community. But as soon as we left or stopped doing what we were doing, it died, because it was only because we were doing it that they were participating, right? But if you can get a vibe going at your community where it's resident led, now not only is it easier on the community, like people that work there, but it's organic, and their people are actually driven to like participate because they like it. This is like their activities, It's like people that play board games, or like, the ones that are like hardcore into Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. Like if you can set up things like that, people are all about it, right? And they're going to do it themselves. They're not going to need anybody like prompting them. So
right. They get emotionally invested in it too.
Yeah.
And this is one thing about our industry. We have to do events. It's retention, it's building your community. We have to do it. But a lot of people don't understand, especially once you get to the corporate world, if you haven't been on site for a while, that events take a lot of time and a lot of planning. And that can also take away from all of our other daily activities that we have to try to get in about 8 or 9 hours. And having something that can be free, resident ran, and your residents just embrace and love that, and they are emotionally invested, they're going to show up. And then they're going to be telling their friends, and then you're bringing traffic to your property. We had a girl that literally came to Lobby Jam. She's now living here. So there's a definitely ROI factor that when you have a niche product like Kenect, we're really focused on the entrepreneur, the traveling professional, the musician, the fresh out of college graduate student or somebody's first job. That's kind of our niche at Kenect. But when they find their people, if you will, then that's where they're going to live, and they're going to keep renewing year after year because it's just their vibe of the community, and it's because of the team that made the vibe.
Yeah.
Not somebody sitting there saying, we're going to do balloon toss today.
Right. And you did it once and that was it. But like, if you can find something that they collectively, the community ongoing, then I mean, that's
over fantastic. The years, I have failed miserably on so many events. Miserably. I'm like, well, don't do events on Fridays or Saturdays because nobody's there. I think a lot of people have learned that.
Especially the summers, right?
Yeah, everybody's out and about. When you want to have resident events, and this is just a free takeaway, is that, those Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays is really where you can get your team, get your residents. People are home from work, and if you do things consistently, even if they don't work the first time. I've seen so many teams were like, well, that didn't work. The yoga class, only 2 people showed up.
You did it once.
Right. It's like, okay, well, let's keep going and going. You got to give it a few weeks or months because people have to change their schedules. And if they love the class, that they're going to make time in their schedule to go. So a lot of teams and, when we're under construction and events that we're doing, if it fails the first time, but it's a really good idea and it's going to be budget friendly and potentially have some ROI, keep doing it. Just maybe tweak the times because if it's really great, it'll work. So don't always be super frustrated the first time you do an event and it fails.
Right. 100%. I endorse that statement. I've lived that statement.
Thank you, Evan. To quote.
Yeah.
We'll put that in quotation marks.
Yes, quotation. No, I did events. That was how I got into multifamily. It was doing resident events.
That's right. You told me that you were a community assistant, right?
I was in a community, resident coordinator, team, event coordinator. I did it for 3 years, lived on site with my wife. We did it 5 events a month. And I learned all about it.
And that turned into a business for you, right?
Well, it was a part of a nonprofit, and I actually ended up leading that nonprofit and then joining a national organization. So I moved it towards acquisition.
That's incredible.
Back in 2018 is when that happened. Wow. So, and then I stuck around for 2 years, and then now I'm community boss. Here we are.
Now you're the real boss. And
now I'm doing podcasting and live shows. Here we go.
So fun.
Never knew that I'd be here. That's for sure.
Hey,
here we are.
That's how I got into the entire industry. It's a hell of a story. So, it's
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we haven't even gotten to question number 2.
I'm sorry. Long-winded.
All right. Here we go. Question number 2. Question number 2 is, if you had somebody over for dinner, what would you make for them? Kind of tied to community, right?
Easy. I am a griller. I love to grill. One of the first things when I was a kid, I learned to use the microwave, and I was taught the grill before I could probably boil stuff. So I love grilling, hanging out back with the beer, grilling on the grill. My husband is actually like the sauce guy, and he does more of like the sides, but I love to cook a really good steak. Ribeye is great. If I'm feeding a lot of people, I'll do flank steak, because you can make it kind of medium rare, super good. And I would also make really good baked potatoes with
Okay.
chives, sour cream, and butter. Of course, got to have butter on a baked potato, and just a really good side salad with all the toppings and the carrots and the cucumbers and vinaigrette. Like that would be that's my favorite meal to cook for people.
Okay. Nice. Sounds delicious.
I know.
Okay.
I haven't had lunch. I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm gonna have for dinner
Steak
tonight.
tonight.
We're gonna roll out to a steakhouse maybe. I haven't
Yeah, what are you
decided.
doing for your birthday dinner?
Okay, so we'll immediately following this, when my kids get off from school, because today's a half day for them normally, we are gonna head out to putt golf
Okay.
and indoor, because it's still kind of cold and I'm not about to just stand outside. So indoor putt golf, and then thereafter, I'm not really sure, but for some reason, the steak idea
steak and a
is
good baked
really,
potato. Yeah.
I mean, that's sounding pretty great. So I just need to go have somebody else cook it for me,
Right.
so that I can make sure it's fantastic.
Exactly. Are you a medium rare guy? A well done?
I can go semi rare.
Okay. Not like prime rib rare.
If the right person's making the steak, I will trust their abilities in making it a little bit rare. And I've had rare steak a few times where it was like so good. Like,
no, the flavor's the best. It's just I can't overcook a steak.
yeah. Oh yeah. I don't understand people that like
flavor. There's no
dead,
flavor.
like just dry as a bone. What are you eating?
No, I know. Well, I don't take you for a steak and ketchup guy, but are you a steak and ketchup guy? Question of the day.
No, okay. No ketchup.
This always baffles me. I mean, I don't know what it is. I can't do steak and ketchup either. So.
Like I'll be fine without any sauce as long as there's
seasoning.
Good seasoning, right? Yeah. I mean, literally, sometimes it can be just salt and pepper if it's.
That's how it really should be: salt, pepper, and butter, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be good.
Keep it simple.
That's right. All right. Final question. So, I don't know if you know, we are in Seattle. Here in Seattle, we have somewhat of a coffee culture. A few people drink coffee here. There's a couple companies some people have heard of that are based here in Seattle.
Yeah.
One or two. So if you were to pick your favorite coffee drink, what would it be?
Ooh, in our team, we have 2 coffee machines at Kenect. And so when I'm here, I'm always wanting to try different recipes. So the team, they got pretty creative one day, and we actually made little videos of everybody's favorite coffee recipe from the coffee machine. And they named it different names. Like for Emily's, hers was like the E-Bullet, something crazy. So it turns out I love a French vanilla with a long espresso shot and a little bit of half and half.
All right. So
it's like extra caffeine.
All right.
There's a lot of caffeine in it.
Okay. All right. So just one shot though? It's a
long espresso.
What does that exactly mean? What's a long espresso shot?
I don't know. It just does it in the little machine, and it's like magic. I think there's like a little elf in there, but it's called a long espresso when you press the button, and it just comes out about a quarter cup of the coffee, maybe not even half, and then I add the French vanilla in, and it's just foamy, and it's not just a regular latte. It has like a really good kick of a latte.
Okay.
So if you like the vanilla, long espresso with the French vanilla latte. Yes.
Got it.
I just had that this morning. It was good.
All right. Yeah.
How about you?
I kind of
connoisseur.
I just roll with black. I mean, yeah,
no
I'm not a big
flavorings.
I'm not a big sweet guy. If you have good coffee, especially if you do it as a pour over or like French press,
sure.
You can rock it black and you're good to go.
Well, in Kentucky, that's I live in Lexington. That's where I'm from. We actually make it's like a bourbon bean coffee.
Okay.
And you don't put bourbon in the coffee. Well, unless you're going to the horse races or something, but it's just a bourbon flavored coffee bean. And I've had that just regular before, and it's delicious because you get that hint of, it smells a little sweet. It has that bourbon kind of smell, and that's pretty good. So I could probably do that bourbon coffee, like just black.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
If
it's good coffee, you can totally do it. It's when you drink garbage that black is like tar. So
yeah. And with me being on airplanes so much, I've just had that so many times. I feel like I have to put the flavor in it to get it down. And I don't care if they call it Starbucks on the airplane. It's a different breed.
It's something else bucks.
Yeah, it's something else bucks. Not Starbucks.
Yeah, not Starbucks. You're joking me. All right. So we got through the questions. We got through the meat, the bulk of the show. Now we can have fun. So I actually first heard of Kenect and got connected with you because of a video that was done by, was it Multifamily Leadership?
Yeah, I think it was
Patrick
and
Antrim.
Carrie. Yes, Antrim. And it was for their promo video for the Multifamily Innovator Summit, which is in Scottsdale, Phoenix every year. And the next one's coming up in the fall. This was my first year going. We hosted an event there at Kenect for the summit, and we had a great video pre-promotion to promote it.
Yeah, so that's what I saw, and I was like, first of all, cool, because I love the co-working space. And it's funny that I love it because I've never actually worked at a co-working space because I live in the suburbs and co-working space does not live in the suburbs. Like we do not have it here. So if I wanted to go work in a co-working space, I'd have to drive 30 minutes or more. And it's like, no, thanks. I'll just stay in my coffee shop, in my house. But it makes me like think there's an opportunity to be in the suburbs with a co-working space. And I'm like, that's a future business for myself. It's just a matter of time. I'm like, I'm going to do it, especially now that everybody's remote. And it's just like, I don't see why that wouldn't be successful. So
that's actually a really good idea, Evan, because when I was working from home, something happened with my internet and I wasn't traveling that week and I had to drive a little bit, and I had to book a day pass at a co-working space in Lexington, and because I wasn't going to have my internet. So I can only imagine how many people in the suburbs that are working from home, just like yourself. I
go to coffee.
Be around.
Yeah,
I go to coffee. Yeah,
I go to Panera twice a week, literally work there all day. Not kidding. And I pay they have an unlimited sip club. I pay their like $15 a month and I get coffee and drinks all day long for free.
Oh my
gosh, I paid for it.
Great.
But and then I sit there, they don't care. Other people are working there as well. So it's proof that there are people working in spaces outside their home in the suburbs. Now, if it was dedicated to that, it would even be more successful, I think, because it would lend itself to work, right? Like you'd have spaces for working rather than just being a restaurant.
And working out of a restaurant, you're not, everyone's on their headphones. Everybody's doing their own thing. You're not intentionally collaborating with people. You're not meeting somebody at the coffee bar. You're not going to a networking event at a Panera. You're just there because that's the only place you can get out of your house.
It's my options.
Right. That's your options. I remember having a meeting with you and you were in like a Panera and I was just like, I wish you could come to Kenect because we have day passes and then that gets you access to the gym. So with our memberships is what we call it. You can have just a floating membership. You can do a day pass for like $40 and that gets you the whole day with your Wi-Fi, coffee, access to our huge gym. And if we have like a yoga class going on, you can jump in on that because we have our fitness and our social calendar posted for the months. And, for what you're spending on coffee a week, I know you're in the SIP club, but for a membership of, under $200 a month for gym and a co-working space all over the country when you travel, That's just what gets me so excited about our brand is, and co-working's not new, right? But I think it's getting new in the multifamily space. And with Kenect, this concept has been developed since 2011. This didn't just happen because of COVID.
Right.
When we started building Nashville in 2017, I mean, every bolt and nail was already planned. So this has been part of our business model. Before launching in Nashville, we had a flagship in Chicago as well. But back to your point, I think like having a co-working space in the suburbs, it doesn't have to be so city centric. I think that's a great idea, Evan. Call me about that later.
Yeah, totally. I'll be an investor.
Right. I'll do the marketing for it.
We'll
I can help you with the software.
All right. No, yeah, it'd be good. It'd be good. All right. You heard it here, folks. Somebody last show said that, so it's a little known fact that I do the show from my garage, and it is wintertime and cold out here. I finally got a space heater at my feet because my feet are frozen. But that's where I am. And
you're sounding like you're getting to be an old man there. Watch out. Get your little
not
space
old
heater.
Not old space heater because it's the garage. It's cold. It's winter. Give me okay. I'm 39. I'm getting old. You're right. Okay. Yeah, that's true. But they were just saying that I'm going to be one of those stories where I started my business from a garage and I was wildly successful.
Microsoft, just saying, they're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
We'll have to come up with a fun name for the suburban co-working space.
Oh, I've already got ideas, but that's going to derail us.
Okay. We could go down a whole. I love making up names for businesses.
This isn't about me. We haven't even gotten to your talking points yet.
I know.
Not that we got to get everything.
Stay focused.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, focus. Squirrel, shiny objects. For me, a shining object is definitely co-working. I love talking about it. So.
Two marketers together. It's like we can't stay on topic for anything.
Yeah, I'm definitely an ideas person, and up here I'm just in my head all the time. So it's like as soon as I get with somebody that is on the same wavelength, I'm like, all right, well, this is when I start talking, because otherwise
we just are bouncing ideas. Anything's possible.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But I did want to learn a little bit about you personally. You kind of hinted at some stuff. How did you get into what you're doing? You mentioned a few bullet points of topics that you're kind of interested in and have things to share. Is that because you, when it comes to lease-ups and like recruiting people, just found ways to do it that are a little bit out of the ordinary? Like, how did you, and those are things that I guess maybe that when you were on site, especially, you really enjoyed. So yeah, I would just love to know what's the precipice of, why you picked what you did when it comes to these topics.
Oh yeah, that's good. When you asked me, what do you think the audience wants to know? Like and I always want people to learn something, and I've just made every probably mistake in the book and have just kept going on this awesome journey with multifamily that I'm like, let me teach you all the mistakes I made so you don't make the same mistakes. And I didn't, I had great mentors, and I do have to give a shout out to Heather Sizemore and Barry Nichols and Michelle Dixon from, just helping me through the ranks. They really gave me a lot of advice on maturing, being professional, even though I came from luxury hotels. There's just a different way to go about things in multifamily. And I do have to give a big shout out to them. So they've just been there for me in the good and the bad. And when I failed and when I've, made really, really great deals. So, but what got me into it and what I kind of wanted to focus on these topping points was when you're doing lease-ups, and for somebody that's maybe going into their first lease-up, they're really freaking hard. And if you've come from an operational building that has everything in place, every structure, every policy, and you just have to show up and it basically runs itself. I mean, that's what we're all trying to live for, right? But but building a property, it takes a little piece of your heart because you put so much energy into seeing this project come alive. And during construction, nothing is guaranteed, but something will go wrong at every single construction site I've been to. So if it's a delay or there's personnel issues or supply issues, there's something happens with the market and you're not leasing as quick. Lease-ups have such a high pressure, and it really takes I think a certain kind of person to do lease-ups because you're selling a product that doesn't exist. So that's why I wanted to talk about this and just be like, what are the 5 things if you're out there and you're going to be sent to do a new lease-up, and maybe you're kind of green in the industry, then I just kind of put 5 things together of like where to start and how to stand out from the competition. Because where my buildings have been when I was in off-campus construction lease-ups, it is highly competitive. It's cutthroat. And if you're not, the coolest kid on the block, or you have the coolest kids living there that's spreading the word for you, or your marketing doesn't look good, it's going to be really, really hard to compete. So you can have a big media spend and do all this, but in that student world, which I'm not in anymore with Kenect, we're more in the young adult phase. But if you just don't have what it takes to stand out from the competition, it's going to be a lot harder. So that's why I wanted to give some takeaways for lease-ups for anybody that may be going into that.
Yeah.
And just going into like how I got into the industry and how we can be recruiting anywhere at any time. Yeah. And really recruiting is after hours. We find talent in the most random places. And I think it's so important that we're always being mindful of that, even when we're off the clock or we're just exhausted. But we walk into that coffee shop and we get the best service from that barista. And you're just like, oh my gosh, if all my team like act like that and they're serving coffee for $8 an hour, please come to my team. I will pay you a lot more money and you'll get really good commission. So just kind of want to hint on those things, and maybe people can get inspired and get some ideas for their recruiting.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. And some other people I've had on the show have said similar things when it comes to finding talent. You can't just put an ad out there and hope somebody comes to you, because the people looking for that job are the people that are already doing this type of work. So your pool is now you're just, fighting over the same people. Now, if you want to attract new people, you should be heads up, out and about. You're at the grocery store, you're at the bar, you're at, wherever you are. If they're giving you great service, maybe you just know that you could offer them a position and start a career for them that is heads and tails better than what they're currently doing. But they are great characteristically. They're primed for it. They're ready to go, but they just are in the wrong place.
Right. And it all kind of resonates of how I got into the industry, because after college, I wanted to run cruise ships in the French Mediterranean. That's what I wanted to do. When you're in college, you're like, I'm going to move to Australia, and all the big dreams that we have in college, which is why I love the college energy vibe, and I love college students. But back to this, I ended up working in hotels and did some internships in South Carolina, in Hilton Head. And then I came back, graduated, and I went to like all the hotels in Lexington and just kind of like walked in, like the nicest ones, and was like, hey, I don't know if you're hiring. My name is Caroll. Here's my little resume. And I ended up getting a job at the front desk for like $10.25 an hour. This was in 2007, 2008. Wow. I know, showing my age here, but did that for a couple years. And then it turns out, and this was like a 352 boutique hotel in Lexington, very horsey. It was called the Campbell House, and it was run by Crown Plaza at the time. Well, running the front desk on a Saturday night, super, super busy. And all of a sudden I get approached by, these guys in suits. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's going to be wrong? What can I help you with? And one of them was like, gosh, well, excuse my French. She was like, you're really running the hell out of this front desk. And I was like, well, it's Saturday night and, people checking in. And I was like, what can I help you with? He's like, do you like your job? And I was like, oh my God, did I do something? And I was like, well, I'm just waiting for the next best thing to come along. Verbatim. I had no idea who I was talking to, by the way. And it turns out that they were developers, and one was like a CEO Miles Orth from Campus Apartments. I know he's really well known in the industry. He was helping to build a student housing property in Lexington. And a few weeks later, I had an interview and I was now a leasing person in the industry, a leasing manager. So
wow.
I never even thought about multifamily as a career or a career path. And just going back as to how we're recruiting, it doesn't matter where you are. And I find a lot of awesome people at the car rental agencies. Their training program is light years ahead of what I have. So they are just trained on, they have full training people, right? They have a whole department. We're still a small company, so we're on the ground training, but they are phone etiquette. They are customer service. They greet you by your name. They're very thorough with their check-in and their check-in process. So I love finding people from the car rental agencies and hotels, just like me. I actually have one of my little standout cards I made. Of course, I have to have something. I don't know if that's backwards, but it says, "Wow, you stand out." And then it has just a little bit about our property and then where they can send their resume. So I've left this with my business card on my ticket at places before. And what if you were, working at a coffee shop and you're just going about your day, you're trying to make ends meet and you're like, oh my gosh, somebody thinks I stand out, And so I've had some good resumes from these little cards, and,
Cool.
Maybe you should make your own little standout card for somebody to remember you.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea because, so many people, most people that get into certain industries, especially multifamily, didn't know about it before, right? Like they didn't know. And that's just the name of the game when it comes to any job, right? You didn't know about it till you knew about it. So, if you are proactive, giving people information so that they then can investigate it, maybe send their resume in because they're like, oh, they think I'm potentially a good fit for this. Cool. I don't really like my job.
Yeah. And, when you're recruiting people that are maybe in a transitional phase in their life, or they are trying to figure out what they're trying to do or starting a new career, school teachers, I think are great for multifamily. They're so organized. Can you imagine like the back storage rooms and package rooms would be like color coded? And I come from a family of teachers. So, it would be so color coded. And I think with the school systems and things going virtual, there's a lot of great teachers out there that are kind of looking for career changes. Especially those that are close to retirement. They're trying to figure out, what they're doing next. I can't believe my sister's almost there. She's only a couple years older than me. She only has 8 years left of teaching, because she started in her 20s. She's now looking for a second career. And teachers, I think they're so busy, right? They're used to kind of managed chaos, if you will. And we have long-term residents that sometimes can be kiddish, right? So teachers know how to escalate and listen and process. I feel like we, as multifamily, it's such an awesome industry. There's so many outlets, right? Accounting, leadership. It's not just all in the trenches leasing. Land procurement, I think, is a neat outlet in multifamily. Everybody's always looking for dirt to build, and so just being out there and always kind of recruiting and sometimes we just want to be off for the day, but that's when you're going to meet somebody really, really talented. So always have your business cards at the grocery store. Always make a standout card. And, if you find someone that you love and you want to nurture and maybe bring into the industry, make sure that they have a way to contact you. That could literally change their life like it did mine.
Yeah, no, sure. That's for sure. And I guess it's only makes sense that, you took notice of that and it's like, all right, well, that's basically how I got my job. So let's try this out on other people because I'm glad I made the switch and I'm glad I'm here. So I'm sure
it was just a business card. That's all I had was a business card. And, I took it home and looked at it and, obviously do some research on the company and look at the reviews of the property that they're talking about. But kids these days, they do all the research for us anyway. So do renters, right?
So is that where you ended up working, is for them or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Campus Apartments in 2010.
Okay. And all right. So I guess I didn't realize you started in college, student housing. So you
Well, I was in my
mentioned
20s. I was out of college.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I meant like you started in the
Collegiate realm.
student housing.
Yeah.
I've had quite a few people that started with their career and are still in student housing. Heather, she's actually going to be on Boss Talks in a couple months. Sizemore, you were mentioning her as one of your mentors.
Yeah.
She's gonna be on the show. So you said that, and I was like, oh well, there we go.
Too. She's awesome.
Yeah,
that is wonderful. I consider her, one of my mentors, and she is just beyond smart and has been through so many different aspects of student housing. She is phenomenal. So I'll definitely have to tune in for that show.
Yeah. Yes. Support her. Jump in, questions and comments and encouragements. It's always
absolutely good. That's great.
And I don't think we've seen them here, but I have a different screen and I'm able to see the comments. There actually are people watching. There are comments. We just don't see them in the studio for some reason. Typically we do. Not sure what's going on there. Just technology not being our friend today. But so we have Austin Hawkins.
Austin! Multi-tech family.
Yep. And then Morgan Clark.
Oh, yes. Marketing Morgan.
Yep. She jumped in at a time. You'll see the comment. I'm not going to say it.
She is awesome. McKenna, she's doing some cool things.
It's not inappropriate, but it is inappropriate. Anyways, It's funny. Anyways.
I would not be surprised with my group. That's okay.
It's not really inappropriate. It's funny. Anyway, I just don't want to say it. That's all.
Okay.
Lindsay Holland, she also will be on Boss Talks in a few months.
So funny story.
She called out you.
Yeah. Lindsay, when I got hired from the hotel, Lindsay was my first community manager boss.
Oh my gosh. Look at
Heather
this.
Sizemore was the I think she was the VP at the time of like student engagement for the company. So that is my little circle. I love Lindsay. Hey, Lindsay.
Awesome. Well, she's going to be on the show. Excited to have her. I'm actually booked through NAA. So I got guests all the way to NAA and a few after. And so those are going to be a few of them in the midst of that. Pretty excited about that. And then Jenna, don't know how to say her last name. Gottlieb.
Yep. We're co-workers. Yep. We work together.
So she gave a shout out to you. She said something about, remember the coffee cupping class at Frothy Monkey?
When we were deciding which coffee bean we wanted to use for Kenect, of course, we had to go to the best coffee shop in Nashville. And we actually learned how to cup the coffee when you sip it.
Yeah.
And one of my pet peeves, I will be completely honest about this, and people maybe have quit their jobs over it, but my biggest pet peeve is like, mouth noises and like gum smacking or like pen clicking. Well, when you go and cup coffee, I think I'm saying it right, you have to slurp really loud and you have to just, I can't even do it. And so we're kind of in this line of all these people cupping the coffee and everybody's slurping. And so I just couldn't get into it. I was like, when are we done? Let's just pick a bean and go, That was a good story.
Oh, gross.
It was gross. Yeah.
Yeah.
So spit it out or not, but
that's funny you say the slurping, because I was working at Panera recently and there's this guy, I don't know if he must work there and he's taking a break because anyways, he brings a soda and he literally doesn't put a lid on it and he just goes like this and he goes and he slurps the entire soda just and I'm just like, and he always sits next to me every single time and I'm just like, no bueno, please move along. This is not the place.
Right. I would not be able to do that. Going back to co-working, there is an etiquette of co-working and we try to politely tell the rules and we put the rules in writing. But there is one where if you don't have headphones or you're taking a call, there's once you get a lot of people that just have their volumes up and speakers on, it can be very, very distracting. So when you start your own co-working business, we actually got branded little headphones, and instead of, hey, can you put your headphones on? We were like, hey, here's some headphones. So
there you go.
Little passive aggressively, but they got something to
hey, it's free. What are they going to complain
free,
about?
and they're like, oh, thank you. So thinking outside the box when you're in multifamily, if you're adding a co-working space, it's good to kind of think about the journey and the user experience as well, and that's going to be a whole different set of promo items.
Yeah. Okay, so I have one question and then we'll wrap up. But when it comes to co-working, what aspect of the co-working was surprisingly most, or has been surprisingly the most popular? Like when it comes to spaces you create or things that you offer, what is the most surprisingly popular?
Like when are you referring to like maybe the membership side or like the activations that we do in co-working that have been popular?
Just like you create a space and you provide different nooks and crannies for people to work in. Is there certain parts of it that are like really popular that you weren't expecting?
Okay. Yeah. So if we could go back and, maybe over the years with some more CapEx projects, these phone booths get used so much, and they're really, really cool. If you actually go to Kenect's Instagram or Facebook, we have pictures everywhere, but on our co-working side, you'll see these phone booths, and they're very futuristic looking, and we have them strategically placed. Actually where I'm at in Nashville,
let's get a little tour.
Yeah, this is actually our
go.
key studio. It's called Kenect Exclusive Experiences. This is our music studio that we have. But as you can see, these huge windows, we have, those go all the way up to the ceiling. We have, awesome. And then back here is the stage.
Oh, wow.
So people can actually use this for podcasting and other meeting. We do private little yoga in here. It's nice and quiet. But going back to these phone booths, and they're really fancy, but those get used so much. And those are first come, first serve for us. We don't charge for people to use the phone booths. So if you're building a co-working space or thinking about that, people love these little private soundproof phone booths where you can just jump in, take a call. You're totally quiet. And when I'm in there, it really helps me focus, which, as you can tell, Evan, we can just sit here and banter all day, but sometimes we really need to focus. So when I'm in this quiet space and it's pretty confined, it really actually does help me focus. So I love the phone booths. I really also like that we put in a mother's lounge, and not that it's the most used thing, but when I'm on a tour, and this is something that we've considered and intentionally put in our co-working space for a mother's lounge. It has a sink, a refrigerator, there's nice lighting. Of course, there's internet all over. We have managed internet, but having just that and people seeing that, knowing that, okay, if I'm going to be here for a while working, and this is where I'm going to be making my roots and home, and maybe my family status is going to change soon, I can still be okay coming to work if you're, during that breastfeeding phase. And I've had a lot of people comment on that, and even men and women that they're thinking about this, or a husband is like, oh my gosh, my wife can now come here with me and we can work and collaborate. So it's just little things like that that we've intentionally put in where people can still work, and you don't have to go in a bathroom and things like that. So I love that we're really forward thinking, so people can continue their work habits even when their life is changing.
Yeah, no, those are interesting. Yeah, I'm not surprised about the phone booth, because being able to go to a little spot and have a phone call and not feel like you're interrupting everybody and all that kind of stuff totally makes a lot of sense. And do you have the kind where you've like bought it and installed it to the space, or is it like built into your?
It's a modular, so you just buy them individually. I think we have about 8, because in Nashville it's 2 floors of co-working.
Yeah,
so
they're not cheap though.
They're not. But they're so cool. And there's if this is part of the development plan, you can certainly build these in. I've seen them built in at different places. Another kind of with our float membership. And that's just open co-working that people are familiar with. You just can come in and sit anywhere. With us, we actually include swim and gym. So
Okay.
not only are you getting a place to work that you can come, but you can also come and use the gym before work, and you don't
Don't
have
you
to.
offer your other amenities as well? Like anything?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they
To
can
people that
attend.
don't live there.
Right. Yeah. So if
Right.
you're just a co-working member, your monthly rate gets you access to any Kenect nationwide. So right now we have Nashville and Phoenix, upcoming Denver, Minneapolis, and Cleveland, and some maybe acquisitions. Can't really go down that yet,
All
but
right.
that's why we're members. This is a social club that we're building. So for think $199 a month, $200 a month, and you can hop around when you're in Denver for the day or Phoenix for the day, and you can get your workout in, work, get your coffee that you're used to, and the places smell the same. And our team wears concert T-shirts and blazers. We just have the
Yeah.
same vibe. That's our uniform at Kenect. So going back is just having those little niche things that people can still keep their lifestyle going, but also making it affordable where they have amenities and things to do after work.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Especially adding those other perks because I mean, I pay that for my Orange Theory membership.
Yeah. How much are
so-
you paying for Orange Theory, coffee,
Yeah.
gas, this,
Yeah.
and we can even include parking. So if you come down to a game on the weekends, you're already paying for co-working parking. And so you can use the garage and come and go, or rent a cabana for the Saturday to entertain a client. There's just things that once people get it and they tour, they're just like, this is light years, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of multifamily places calling it co-working. There's places
Right.
calling it co-living. With our co-living residential side, those are leased by the beds. But when I hear co-working, that means memberships to me. And that means you're going to have a private office that you can rent. You can put your logo on there. You can set up a bar, paint a wall, bring your dog. Like this is your home. This is your office.
Right.
What I'm seeing at some competitor places is that it's only for their residents. And so therefore they're not really monetizing on these spaces.
Right.
So
Right.
this is a whole other business side that Kenect is becoming very, very profitable in, because we're monetizing on outside memberships and spaces.
Yeah. So that is actually a question that was just literally typed into the comments. So Morgan Clark, she just asked, normally I'd add this to the screen, but I can't. So I'll read it. It says, do you see any pushback from the residents regarding the outsiders, coworkers, using their gyms, pools, etc.?
That's a great question. And once we launch our hoteling floor, there'll be even more nightly short-term rentals as well, but we're keeping that to one floor. We have not had any feedback because our brand and our websites are very transparent about what our product is.
You know what you're getting into.
You know what you're getting into with Kenect, right?
Right.
And so
right.
it's such a big space and it's such a big building. And people also have to understand with co-working, these people aren't here every day. A lot of these people travel. They're meeting clients outside. Maybe they just come to their office twice a week. Some people just work on the weekends here. It's very come and go. So we also have our own private elevator in Nashville for our co-working members. The Phoenix space is quite smaller. You can just walk up the stairs, take one elevator. But the Nashville space is, 18,000 square feet. It's massive. It's 2 stories. You can have hundreds of people in here, never feel like it's super crowded. So we don't have any problems with our people that live there that interact or associate with just co-working members, because they have their own entrance space. And the pool in the summertime with residents bringing their friends, that's where we get some of the complaints, is because the residents bring their friends to all the amenities and things like that. So no problems when we have our co-working people.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I guess that's the difference, is that you guys are set up that way. It's obvious that this is what it's going to be like when you move in. So if this isn't your jam, you don't like it, then there's plenty of other places to live.
Right. There's a ton. But for the value and everything we get when people get here, and we are a niche kind of boutique property. So it's either people, they've finally found their people, or it's kind of like, no, I need a big apartment. I'm going to be hanging out my apartment, because we are such a micro space of floor plans.
Yeah. No, I would be down with it if I was living in an apartment and I didn't have 3 children,
That's okay. They're going to grow up so fast. Enjoy it while you can.
Yep. Well, it's been a joy to have you, Carol. And I'm so glad that you could join me for my birthday episode.
Me too. I feel
These
so
beads,
special.
these beads are birthday beads. They're not Mardi Gras. These
Okay.
are happy birthday
That's
all
nice.
over them. And I also got my boss bling. Don't forget that.
Ooh. Do your guests get a souvenir?
Oh, you'll
Be
be
part of
getting
the
something
club
soon.
You know what? We should wear those at NAA. If you've been on the show, we should all wear the boss necklace. And
the
then
whole thing. So we have our booth. We got it set up. We're designing it currently. And I am incorporating boss talks into the booth. So I need my boss guests, the boss family of boss talks coming. We need to have like a happy hour or something.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
I haven't met everybody in person yet. So this is going to go down. It's going to be a party. It's going to be a good time. We're doing it. And I want to see everybody. And I'm going to even have the studio, quote unquote, set up. I'm going to do a boss talk from NAA Wednesday live. People are going to come in, do snippets, little short. We're doing it. So it's already in the works.
Yes. And I would love to see
the bling. The bling. You will be getting a bling. Don't worry. You're going to get a little
I need to feel part of the group. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You're getting something. Don't worry. It's coming your way. I do need your address though.
I'll send you the bourbon coffee and then in exchange for the boss necklace. Yep.
All right. Well, you're also getting coffee in a mug. So that's all coming.
I'll take it. Well, don't forget, everybody go make your standout cards.
That's right.
Make people remember you.
It's a good idea.
Take your business cards to the grocery store. You just never know where you're going to find awesome talent. And that makes your life so much easier.
Yeah, no, it's true. 100%. Again, Carol, thank you so much. Thank you for saying yes to this. I'm glad that we met through the internet. I'm glad you were able. I love it when we get to interact on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a great tool. This is how we met because she saw my comment. She commented. We talked. Here we are.
Yep.
And then forever we know each other. And who knows? We're going to be opening up co-working spaces in the suburbs. Here we go.
Sub work.
Yeah.
We'll put
I already got names. So, anywho, thank you for saying yes. Just like she said yes. If you're watching and you want to be a boss, or you are a boss and you want to be on Boss Talks, hit me up. I would love to have you on an episode every Wednesday, 12 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This has been Boss Talks. Next week we have a break because I'm going to a conference, and then we'll be back the week after. So I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.
Bye.